Natural ecosystems underpin all social and economic development. Even so, conservation must compete with other development priority and political agendas. To be effective, those who champion conservation must be credible and their recommendations based on evidence. Vast quantities of data have been generated on the biodiversity and ecology of the Western Ghats. However, these data have not been readily accessible to groups and individuals working for conservation. To overcome this barrier, CEPF and Atree brought together two institutions. The French Institute of Pondicherry brought a strong reputation for scientific integrity within the academic and NGO communities. Strand Life Sciences Limited complemented this with its technical expertise with its web-based platform development. The two institutions have worked with a growing network of partners to build the Western Ghats Portal, a collaborative, community-owned information platform that facilitates evidence-based conservation.
The Western Ghats has been biologically explored for centuries. In the last few years, there has been this huge surfeit of scientific institutions, projects, colleges, etc., studying botany, zoology, and they would go into the Western Ghats and study this information. There were studies on species, there were studies on habitats, there were studies on people living in these habitats. A whole series of studies were conducted of the Western Ghats.
Western Ghats is a much studied area, but there is no one-stop place where you can go and get information. Conservation NGOs, the civil society organizations, collect data within a specific framework of a project, and then it kind of goes and gets shelved into their data repository. Basically, the data dies out.
The Biodiversity Portal addresses this by putting out this information for anybody in the public to access this kind of information.
In order to draw any conservation plans, this kind of information system is very, very essential. And most important thing is we are trying to build this portal through wide participation of stakeholders. Stakeholders, according to us, includes researchers, implementing agencies like forest departments and policy makers, plus wildlife enthusiasts or nature enthusiasts.
In this whole portal, the main kingpin is technology and an enabling platform. In principle, the technology platform had to do a few things. Firstly, it had to do crowdsourcing. You had to get information from the large crowd that was there.
When we started out, there were a lot of apprehensions about sharing data. We tried various ways of saying, this is under Creative Commons and you will be credited for your contribution. It's not that data will be stolen away and misused by others. It took time for people to digest that and to come out with their data. The research community keeps generating a lot of data which is temporal in nature and also spatial and species specific in nature. So the portal's map module, the species pages module and the citizen science module allows you to represent any of these data to be reflected well on the portal. Amateur naturalists can report with a photograph and the location on what species they happen to see and at what date and time. We have a document module where various reports and papers can go in. All these modules talk to each other, which gives you a much more holistic perspective on biodiversity data.
In 2010, when CEPF investments in the Western Ghats had started, we had said that it would be good to have an information system. We already have something, but we have a long way to go. CEPF came and funded us, and it's been really very, very positive, very essential funding that we got for the portal.
Conservation is not just the protection of species. It is also to conserve species at the same time to utilize the resources more sustainably. In order to do that, we need a wide range of information that can be utilized by not only for research but also used by many implementing agencies like Forest Department and also the policymakers to draw conservation plans and so on. So
This is something that has never happened in India before. So this, I think, needs to be nurtured and fostered to a much greater extent.
Western Ghats Portal is a shining example of the power of partnership to overcome long-standing challenges. It can reasonably be expected to have a transformative impact on efforts to understand and conserve the biodiversity of the Western Ghats.